Well, it's not GameCube games, because you probably know that the online playtest program for Nintendo that they've never done before in the history of NSO, we were going to learn more details about it yesterday. Those details went up late last night. Of course, Nintendo, in, I guess, their perfect world mindset, thought that maybe this wouldn't leak. Maybe people wouldn't talk about it. Maybe you could have 10,000 people involved in a playtest program and ask them not to share things, and they just will not share it out of the kindness of their heart. Well, turns out, no, that's not the case. Of course, it leaked online immediately. There's no legal NDA or anything like that, but Nintendo is actually aggressively going after any of the images that are shared online in relation to this playtest. So while I will be talking about exactly what's been uncovered and what this playtest program actually is, because surprisingly, it's Nintendo dipping their toes into an MMO style game. Some people are comparing it to Miiverse. It's not really that. It's more akin to like Minecraft and Roblox, if you ask me. But all the images that were being shared around of this thing have actually been DMCA'd by Nintendo, so we will not unfortunately be able to show anything in this video whatsoever. But these images are extremely easy to come by. If you do want to Google search them yourself, you can kind of get an idea and a feeling for the style that Nintendo is going after here. It seems very bright, colorful, kind of a more simple graphical design, definitely targeted more towards of course, a family-friendly type of style. But nonetheless, we're going to read through some of the details that we do know about it, because once something gets shared on the internet, it is therefore good. And there's some interesting tidbits of information that you will want to pay attention to for this thing. And we're also going to be talking about, yeah, this is probably realistically, while it is a Switch 1 game, it's probably going to have ongoing support and developments for their next gen console as well, and maybe one of those bridging the gap type of applications to keep players invested in the online ecosystem. It'll be interesting to see if this is a hit, but we'll get on the same page with exactly what's been shared and what is known about this playtest program right now. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. We're going to first start off discussing some of what's been found on the website, where it says about the Nintendo Switch Online Playtest program. With the Nintendo Switch Online Playtest program, we aim to test the boundaries of mass multiplayer functionality and gameplay on our servers. Things to keep in mind when interacting with others: respect other players in all instances, play according to the rules written in the terms and conditions, etc. Do not give your personal information to anyone else. Carefully consider the data you share. Sharing inappropriate content could result in disciplinary action. If you discover any problems or issues, please use the report feature to report them. We then see what looks to be kind of similar to that grid globe we've seen Nintendo actually publicly share tied to this playtest program, but there are different blue dots that seem to be where development is going on, as it is kind of like a resource gathering, build your own world type of thing that's being described here. As it says, in this game, the goal is to work with others to fully develop a massive, expansive planet by utilizing creativity and farmed resources. As you progress across the planet, you'll discover new lands, enemies, and resources that will become essential to your journey. They have a section that says how to develop. Throughout your adventure, players will be granted special tools known as beacons. These beacons emit a healing light that purifies and develops the land. The higher your beacon is placed, the wider its beacon zone becomes. Within your beacon zone, your best work can be done. Players will repeat the process until their current planetary block is considered fully developed. About the beacon zone, the beacons players receive will be their most valuable tool. You are the master of your beacon. Only you can move, lift, or edit items within your beacon's light. Just as others cannot edit things within your beacon zone, you cannot edit things within someone else's beacon zone. Places outside of beacon zones are public areas that anyone can work in. In public areas, anyone can pick up things, place them, and edit them. To protect your builds and precious items, you'll want to store them inside your beacon zone for safekeeping. And there is a section called the Dev Core. The Dev Core is a separate space from the planet you'll be developing. Think of it as a social hub to gather with other players. At the Dev Core, you can level up your character, get items you will need for your journey, commune with others, and more. Leveling up your character. Anytime players make progress in developing the planet with a beacon light, they'll earn dev points. Players can use dev points in the Dev Core to raise their development level. By increasing your development level with these points, you can obtain convenient items for further development activities. About Connects points. Players can earn Connects points by interacting with players in a variety of ways. Players can use Connects points in the Dev Core to raise their connection level. By increasing your connection level, players will have access to fun community-related items. User-generated content. Features will allow players to create content that they can use themselves as well as share with other players. You can make all sorts of different user-generated content in game. You can receive feedback by sharing the user-generated content you create with other players. To create user-generated content, you must obtain a UGC license by taking a test in the game to show that you understand the importance of respectful communication. There is a feature for reporting problematic players or inappropriate content that other players have created. Please report problems if you find them in order to maintain a safe and respectful gaming environment. Development Positioning System, or DPS. Every player is equipped with a special skill known as the Development Positioning System, or DPS. This allows players to see a wide array of details, including the development status of the planet and positions of other players. There is a spectate feature. With the DPS spectate feature, players can see beacons and other players from a great distance. Note, because the software is for verification, you cannot turn this feature off. What happens if I lose my beacon? If you've misplaced your beacon, you can use the DPS to warp to it. If for some reason you are unable to locate your beacon, please visit the dev mind in the dev core. Lastly, it points out that the game saves automatically and that basically it's tied to the server, so if you log out, you're going to log back in right where you left off. And they warn that there's a small chance that maybe some save data could get corrupted as part of the playtest program, and you might not have all of your same progress at the end of the playtest program. But that's actually officially what Nintendo has outlined in their webpage for this. And yeah, at this point, I guess we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how enticing the actual gameplay loop is. Is resource and development with an MMO feeling to it for a Nintendo game what you had on your list of possibilities that was this playtest? I think I threw it out there as an idea. I definitely was leaning more in the mindset of GameCube. I would be more hyped for GameCube also, transparently, but this is cool. This is something that Nintendo's trying that's new. If they do the game mechanics right, like if the characters feel fun and responsive and snappy, almost like a 3D Mario feeling where you just feel very in control of your character, but you also have a really cool array of different creativity options and world building. Like I could see it being fun. I'm not probably going to spend a ton of time in this playtest myself, but I will be participating within the program. It will go live on the 23rd, so just a couple days from now, and it's actually in the evening from what I see, because it looks like it said 6 p.m. on the 23rd on Pacific time. That would make it 8 p.m. for me in Central, or 9 p.m. for those in Eastern time zone. But this is an interesting one from Nintendo. MMO style game. What we don't know, and it's not clear with anything that I can see from the information that Nintendo has shared, yes, you're interacting with other players online and you're all in the same world, MMO style, but how are we actually talking to other players? Because they're being very stern with their warnings about being respectful to other players and not stepping out of acceptable, respectable boundaries with people. So are we just having like an all open included chat in this thing if you have a microphone, or do you have to use like pre-selected words that you can maybe select together and actually put out a message that pops up over your head that other people can see, or some kind of world chat that's featured? Like, that part is unclear, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Nintendo handles that aspect, because in my opinion, this is going to be very telling on just how much they may create a focus on players connecting with each other online in terms of voice chat or direct messages with things like their next gen console that we know we're obviously going to see Nintendo revamp Nintendo Switch Online in some way, shape, or form. And it's interesting that this playtest program is coming out towards the end of the Switch's life cycle for NSO, which leads me to believe this will be like a cross-generational type of project. Like, we're going to see it launch on the entire user base of Switch consoles today, but it'll probably carry forward to the next gen console. And if Nintendo is doing a lot behind the scenes to allow people to just chat and message directly within this social playtest setting, like, does that spell for us the expectation that maybe it's going to be baked into the operating system level for their next gen hardware? And I'm certainly hoping that it is. It would be ridiculous to continue to have to use a smartphone app to talk to your friends online via Nintendo's platform. I know Nintendo's not interested in content moderation that comes along with messaging, having that on your platform and native voice chat built in, but make it an optional parental control just to shut it off altogether. I think that's the best of both worlds scenario. And hopefully this game ends up being very fun and creative when it all comes out. I mean, I am not a Minecraft player or a Roblox player multiplayer at all. And I mean, it's not exactly what this game is, but it definitely seems like it's taking some ideas from those style of games. So we'll see if Nintendo can actually get this done in a way that hooks me into the gameplay loop or not. And there's also some other leaks related to this popping up online, and I'm not sure how verified they are. Some people are saying that this is allegedly called Nintendo Park, and that is the name of the game whenever it actually launches. It seems like this is popping up over on 4chan with some interesting screenshots that shows like a me selection for the character selection. I'm not verifying that info. I can't tell if it's legit info or not, so take that part with a grain of salt. Right now we're just being called Playtest program from Nintendo. And I guess another thing that we really don't know for sure is just how fleshed out this game actually is at this point in time. Like, obviously they have enough for us to get started and to have a detailed playtest program taking place all the way until November, but we don't necessarily know that this thing is going to be like turned around and ready to be released right after the playtest program ends, or if it might need development into next year before it's ready to launch. So I'm sure it's going to be a day one included feature as an expansion pack member, as that's who this playtest was targeted to. And this will be Nintendo's really first time throwing a new content experience, like a game that's brand new, onto the service inherently as part of the subscription. It's not like what Sony and Microsoft do with their, new first party games that come out that sometimes launch into their subscription services or shortly thereafterwards. But this is just one of those perks for being a Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack member, that you'll have access to this game apparently, and it's Nintendo taking a stab at an MMO. So what do you think of all this? Are you hyped for this playtest program at all? Are you included in the program, or we have to wait until afterwards whenever this actually becomes a fleshed out feature to hop into it? And from what you've learned about it so far, are you excited to see Nintendo try something like this out that's an MMO world building type of game, or could you not care less about it at the end of the day and you were really just hoping for GameCube games to be thrown on the service? So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell, and with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.